Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I want to share with you how I make my bowl of Tuo Zaafi. Some people also call it TZ or Ayoyo. This recipe is very simple, quick, and easy, yet delicious. Please stay tuned and let's get cooking together. For this recipe, I'm going to be using some tomatoes, onions, palm nut oil, and some natural spices, which is just some peppers, garlic, and ginger. I'm starting off by adding some salt to my meat for seasoning. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my diced onions. Once that's done, I'm going to simply just shake everything together just so the salt is nicely coated on the meat. You can do this with a spatula or just by adding the lid and just shaking it together. The meat has been steaming for about 13 to 15 minutes now on just below high. So you want to steam your meat like high, but not like high just so it doesn't burn. So yeah, so it has been steaming, and right now it's a good time for me to add my natural spices, which was just the ginger, garlic, and the hot pepper. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour it in. Then I'm going to let it steam again for about 8 minutes before I turn it off and fry the meat. So one would probably want to know why I don't just add the blended spices right in the beginning of steaming the meat. This is just because the meat has its own natural taste to it. So once you steam it with the salt and the onion, that taste will come out. So if you go ahead and you put all those other spices in the beginning, those spices will overtake the natural taste of the meat. That's just how I see it. I don't do it this way all the time. It just depends on what it is that I'm making. So yeah, so at this point my meat is done cooking. I'm just taking them out from the stock, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fry it. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and let the beef cool down before I fry them. The cow feet, is hard, and it takes longer to cook. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the stew in the beginning of me making the stew. So you guys will see how I do that. So moving on to my favorite part of cooking. So right now my palm oil is hot, has heated, and I've just added the onions, and I'm just blending the spices I'm going to be using for the stew, which is just onions, ginger, garlic, and some peppers. So now that that's done, I've poured it into my palm oil, and I'm just cooking it together. I'm adding some spices, which is just some Maggi cube and some all seasoning spice. So I've just added my Ayoyo, which is also known as tuna. I like to add this in the beginning of the stew because it's fishy and I wanted to get all the spices into it just so it's not as fishy. So here's the stock that I got from the meat, and I've just added that into the stew as well. So I'm just stirring everything up nicely together, and I'm gonna cover it so it can cook slowly by itself. Alright, so now it's time for the tomatoes. So this is canned tomatoes that I just added to it. And here is my blended tomatoes, the natural tomatoes, or whole tomatoes if you want to call it. I'm just gonna go ahead and let the stew cook. While that's being cooked, here is the cow feet that I was talking about. So I added it to the stew so it cooks with the stew. And right now I'm just adding some more spices in the stew. So that is just ginger, garneted ginger, and some others. So this is a progression of the stew. It has been cooking nicely on medium heat. So now that it has been formed, I'm gonna go ahead and just let it cook on low and then move on to frying my beef. So I'm frying the beef on medium heat, and just look how nicely this looks. And look at the stew. Mm-mm-mm. Delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the beef in the stew just like this. And now the stew is almost done. Like I said, this is very easy and simple. So moving on, I'm frying my fish now. This fish is called I believe it's A11. You can find this in any Chinese or Asian grocery store. It's very delicious when it's fried. And yeah, so the fish is done frying. I'm not adding the fish in the stew. I'm just gonna put it on the side, and whoever wants fish can add it to their bowl. So here's the stew is done, and it was amazing. You guys need to please try this stew out. So moving on to my ayoyo soup. So I obviously cooked some okra because I add okra into my ayoyo soup, and here is what I'll be using for the ayoyo. So I didn't wash the bowl that I cooked the okra in because there's no point. So now I just boiled some water and I'm just adding the ayoyo into the water. The instructions is on the back. I think it's just like 1 cup of water that was needed, or maybe two or something like that. Yeah, so you can just read the instructions on the back when making this. Like I said, this recipe is very simple. I did not add any dawa dawa to it. I personally don't like adding the dawa dawa. So yeah, I didn't add that to it. And here is my ayoyo soup almost done. So I just added some seasoning to add some taste to the soup, and just gently stirring everything together. This recipe is very easy, very healthy, and it's just delicious. So here is my okra. I just blended it, and now I just added it into the ayoyo soup. So here we have it, our ayoyo soup. Ayoyo soup is finally done. I'm just adding a pinch of salt because I realized that, I needed some more salt for taste. And here it is officially done, guys. You see how I told you, like, this is just easy and simple. Just look at that. Look at that. It's not too thick and it's not too light. It's just perfect right in the middle. And this is like A1. I give myself A1, A plus. And here I am making my diuhu. And now I'm gonna go ahead and serve myself a bowl of this amazing diuhu meal. Look how green the soup is. And here is my diuhu, nice and soft. And here I am just adding my stew. The stew is very liquidy. Well, I wouldn't say very, but it's not as thick because I didn't add any tomato paste to it. I prefer not to add tomato paste to my diego stew. I just like it to be this texture. So excuse the mess that has been made when trying to serve this. Um, I mean, it is what it is. So here it is, guys. Oh my goodness. I'm being tempted to, like, like in Ghana when the Diego sellers are coming in the neighborhood, or when they come into the neighborhood, they will be like, yelling, shouting out that they're there. I want to say that thing they say, but you know what? I'm not going to. But yeah, here it is. My Tuo Zaafi TZ is officially done. Please watch everything till the end, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please share this on all your social media platforms, okay? And let's get this channel going and growing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Don't forget, peace and joy always. Bye.